This broadcast is brought to you by Colby Brooks with Century 21 Right Pace Real Estate and buyfrombrooks.com. Let Colby Brooks handle all of your real estate needs. On NEA Report today, we're taking a look at the latest COVID-19 numbers across Arkansas, but we're also covering other news too, like a local Jonesboro native, Andy Shadley, announcing that he's running for mayor of Jonesboro, the first such announcement of that race. Also, the judge removed in Randolph County, a story we broke right here on Friday. We're talking about that more with context and perspective next on NEA Report.
Stan Morris reporting.
Thanks for joining us today on NEA Report. Stan Morris reporting in Jonesboro. We're going to continue our COVID-19 coverage, but we're also going to go back to somewhat normal coverage as well, with regular news stories in addition to our special reporting on this. So you'll notice we're going to be briefer about the COVID epidemic, but at the same time, we're going to keep following this closely. And of course, NEAReport.com has all of the details as always. You can go there and, well, for one thing, you can still find everything on the coronavirus tab for your county specifically, or just for the entire United States. So the big story today is that the governor announcing that he's extending the state of emergency. This as 1,364 active cases remain out of a total of 3,496, right at 3,500, right? The governor issuing that executive order through proclamation, and a lot of folks saying, well, what does this mean? Well, for another 45 days, basically, the executive order that allows for all of these restrictions is issued. It's not necessarily going to mean that we're going in a further state of lockdown. This means simply that they can make these choices if they need to for the next 45 days, but that kind of went without saying. We've also learned that new guidelines are being worked on for pools. According to Secretary of Health Dr. Nate Smith, there's going to be some sort of lessening of restrictions for public pools soon, and the restriction for recreational travelers from out of state is going to be lifted now. It's not including New York, New Orleans, New Jersey, or Connecticut residents or travelers who've been there, those hot spots, of course, being excluded. The cumulative numbers as of today, we've already told you a little bit about that. The deaths are at 83. Active cases is staying right around the same as where it's been. About 55,000 or so will have been tested in the day by the time this is over with. 89 hospitalizations, that's down to. That's 89 from COVID-19 in the entire state of Arkansas. 16 on a ventilator, 264 cases in the Forest City prison, we learn. So 2 prisons have had pretty bad outbreaks. The numbers across northeast Arkansas, well, at least as of the update this morning, had Craighead County at 84. Greene County at 19, Randolph County, where did I put Randolph? Oh, there they are, at the top, it's at 19. Lawrence County, 67, because, of course, the nursing home outbreak. Some other numbers there you could check out at NEAReport.com. And the global numbers look a little bit like this. 1.1 million in the U.S., 3.6 million across the globe with 250,000 deaths. Almost 70,000 in the United States have died. We're headed toward a number that could reach 100,000. See if we get there. We hope not. Tracking the growth with help from our friend Dr. Pat Carroll, we can see on the orange line the active number of cases that has gone down, and it is, well, it's bounced a tad bit up a little bit. The governor warning that we're probably going to see active cases rise on the charts in the next few days because of a great deal of testing being done in Forest City by the CDC. The governor almost sounding frustrated about that, as if he had hoped that that had happened earlier when it was requested earlier or sooner, saying it was finally coming to fruition. Test by date showing the amount of tests being performed as of yesterday. It was a smaller number. Now, this was updated about 3 p.m. Monday, but that's the last update for numbers that we got on Monday, too. And you could see there was a small lag, it looks like, in the amount of tests given. The governor saying today, mentioning something to the effect of it could have been over the weekend that a lot of folks were basically not getting tested, especially with Sunday. But we've seen those numbers jump on a Monday before. We'll see what happens. Pfizer's beginning human trials of a possible vaccine. That's good news. They're doing that in an accelerated fashion because of everything that's happening, so they are trying to hurry it through. It could be here as early as September. A commentary from Dr. Shane Spice is at NEAReport.com. saying we're still far from the finish line on this, despite a lot of good news out there, or it appearing to be, at least in the near term. It could be a longer problem in the far term. Is that a long term? There we go. Go to neareport.com. And it's very serious, by the way. My bumbling around is not meant to make light of anything, but the commentary is significant because this is one of the most intelligent people in Northeast Arkansas related to medicine, somebody that I've trusted with my own personal health before, and I've interviewed for probably over 10 years now. Right? In fact, I know it's been over 10 years because we did an H1N1 special in 2009 on KIT. I'm old. Anyway, Dr. Spites still looks the same as he did back then, by the way, and he's a great person. Check his commentary out and all these other stories as well at neareport.com. This is the graphic for today's article.
Many folks in Jonesboro already know me. My name is Andy Shadley, and Jonesboro is my hometown. I grew up here. Went to Nettleton High School, class of 1994. Go Raiders. Graduated from Arkansas State University twice. Married my high school sweetheart, and now we're raising our two beautiful daughters here. Jonesboro is my hometown. I love this wonderful city. I know the people of this city, and they know me. I also understand where we've been and what we could become with the right leadership and vision. Many people think it's time to pass the baton. And I agree. That's why I'm excited to officially announce that I'm running for mayor of Jonesboro. I believe Jonesboro is at a crossroads, and a new style of leadership is necessary. My campaign will focus on 3 pillars of success: trust, transparency, and teamwork. These pillars will serve as the backbone of a winning formula as we move forward together.
Monday evening, Andy Shadley announcing that he's seeking office for mayor of Jonesboro. He's running this year. Of course, the 2020 election is when the mayor of Jonesboro is going to be decided again. Jonesboro Mayor Harold Perrin is probably going to run for re-election. Sources close to the mayor have told me, but no official announcement has been made as of yet. So at the minimum, we know now that we've got a contest, most likely. Shadley, who graduated from Nettleton in 1994, later attended Arkansas State University, earning a bachelor's degree in biological science and his master's in physical therapy, too. You may know him from working at St. Bernard Sports Medicine for a long time, really, since June of 2005. He lives in Jonesboro with his wife and 2 daughters. And he told me earlier today that he hopes to make a difference in the community that he loves. He said for his entire life, people have been asking him if he would ever consider running for public office. He said his ultimate goal in life is to make a difference and inspire others to join me. That's what he said. He said his mother told him he's a born leader, and as usual, he believes her. He's contemplated public service for 2 years now, especially during the Team Jonesboro initiative, when he said that he learned about the issues and solutions for his hometown. He said trust, transparency, and teamwork are the 3 pillars of his campaign. And informed citizens have a better relationship with local government, he said, therefore making progress possible. The announcement today is the first such announcement in the Jonesboro mayor election. The filing period is in August, so we should probably expect announcements between now and then for that upcoming race. It was first reported right here on NEA Report on Friday. Randolph County Judge John Thrush removed from office, disqualified from holding a judicial seat in the future. He will never be a judge again. He resigned to avoid ethics charges following an investigation by the Judicial Discipline and Disability Commission, or JDDC, which I'll abbreviate here for, well, just to keep this from being 17 minutes long. But we did do a much longer video Friday night for supporters on this, so become a supporter, 99 cents, and you'll get a much deeper look at this story. You could go back and watch that and all other exclusive supporter content the second your transaction goes through, even if you weren't a supporter back then. It's a great deal now. The Randolph County District Court Judge John Thrush removed from office, and it was announced on Friday, but a lot of the headlines said resign. One of them even said voluntarily resign, which is somewhat, well, that's misleading at the minimum and inaccurate at the worst, because it wasn't as though he just decided he was done being a judge and he was going to give up the seat. He was facing ethics charges and a possible trial unless he made the decision to resign and admit to fault in this investigation. And the reason that is so clearly outlined as removal from office, simply put, those are the words in the letter from the commission. Not only the letter that was sent out, but also the executive director and I spoke to him Friday. Those are the exact words he told me. And I said, so should I say resign? And he said, this is accurate, removed from office. Thus, let's stick with it and make it very clear. According to this report, in 2018, he communicated via Facebook Messenger with a female district court defendant in his court, okay? And he did not immediately recuse, which he should have the moment they exchanged a message. Only after her case was called and she entered a plea did he recuse. On July 11th, 2018. He didn't stop communicating with her, though. 15 days later, he messaged her, asking if she was done with everything except what she had in his court. The communications went from friendly to flirty, and after the recusal, to sexual in nature. After the recusal, according to this report by JDDC, he indicated he would help with her charges pending in his court, but purportedly to be heard by a special judge. He mentioned he would look at those traffic stuff. Those are his words. And see what we can do. He said he hated to see her buried in fines. He said, make sure you don't tell anyone you're talking to me for lots of reasons. But JDDC ended up finding out. On July 27th, it got much worse because the then judge asked the then defendant to call a cell phone. Explicit photographs were sent to him by the defendant, sexual in nature, apparently, or somewhat close to that. And according to JDDC, he asked for more photos, quote, of the same nature. Another incident that took place unrelated to this is something we reported about first, 2019. I don't know that another report has actually been written about it by another news outlet, but NEA Report did a story on this when he allegedly demanded his wife be allowed out of a ticket after she refused to stop for pursuing police officers until she had driven, it was about 3.5 miles exactly, from where the stop began to her home. Now, 3.5 miles is a long way on the interstate to run from officers. Most of us are going to pull over right then, as soon as we see those lights. This was not on the interstate. This was in the middle of the quiet community, for the most part, of Pocahontas, my hometown for that matter, but also where the speed limit's between 30 and 40 miles an hour, maybe 45 in some spots. She continued going and ignored the officer till she got home. All she got out of that, as the judge's wife, and they knew she was then, was a ticket. A city ordinance one, not even one that would have hurt her insurance. But that was still too much because according to the then police chief, Cecil Tackett, the judge said, quote, if you can't show me some professional courtesy, we're going to have problems, unquote, and they did. Even though Tackett dropped the ticket, they allowed it to be null prost, letting her out of a ticket for running from the police. That's got to sting if you've ever gotten a speeding ticket up there, by the way. Well, even with that happening, there was a divide between the two, and Tackett said those events were what led to him being forced out of his job as police chief on January 9th of 2019. We learned about that and did an exclusive story about that on NEAReport.com too, so you can go check all of this out. We've linked it all up. But it must have felt good for that police chief, at least based on what he told us, to find out that Judge Thrush was also forced out of his job last week, and he will never again be a judge. Thanks for hanging out with us for a little bit today on NEA Report. We really do appreciate your time, and if you think we did a decent enough job, we would appreciate it if you'd click like or share for us right about now. That means a whole lot to us when that happens. Helps us to get the news out to a lot more people, and it just helps the page to grow too. Thanks everybody for subscribing and following, and become a supporter if you're not already. 99 cents a month. I told you we've got an exclusive broadcast up about the Thrush situation from last Friday. Also, tons of other content that's up there, including interviews with local celebrities in the media. Several of those. We did an entire series for the last several months. A lot of great content up there. Trey Stafford, Brandon Baxter, Michael Steele, and more. I'm Stan Morris, NEA Report in Jonesboro, and now you're up to date.